Ahoy hoy! Hello and thanks for joining. I'm Shane. As always, I'm joined by the master of his own universe. It's Phil from Phil's Nerdiverse.
Heidi ho.
And I'm joined by the charity bringer, the guy
Ooh.
who cares more about others than himself. It's Scott
Uh,
from Scott's
I,
Shelf.
Hello, Shumai. But that's a lie. I'm extremely vain.
Hold on. I thought Scott such a great intro.
Mate, you've got your own universe.
This is true. I just want more. I want it all.
Scott does a charity auction once a month, Phil. Do you?
I did every week. I just don't brag about it. Jokes. Love you.
So, yes, thank you all for joining. We are here to talk about my pick, which is Kingdom Come from 1996 by DC Comics, written by Mark Waid with art by the one and only Alex Ross. I mean, the art. Colorist, Alex Ross as well, sorry. I forgot to do the rest of it, didn't I? I got sidetracked by Alex Ross. And letterer is Todd Klein. The art distracts me every single time. Before we meet the herd, I'll just do a quick synopsis for the book before we jump in, yes?
Sure.
So this is set 10 years after Superman and the League step back and leave the Earth in the hands of the next generation of superheroes. However, the new generation of superheroes have a more permanent way of dealing with villains. They don't hold the same values as the original superheroes of yesteryear. So when Magog and his team battle Parasite in Kansas, they cause a massive explosion, kill millions of people. So Superman has to once again don his cape, come back, reunite the League. Reunite the League, bring back order to the world, bring back hope. And along the way, they battle the younglings in an all-out war, which leaves the humans with little option but to send out an attack of their own, which causes the death of a pretty major character in this book. Yes. So
You
that's
could also
the
just
synopsis.
say it's the millennials versus the boomers. That's what it was.
Yes, pretty much. Yes, it was. We'll get into that in a sec because I do want to talk about the characters a lot more in this book. But first, let's meet the herd. Phil's in. Phil jumped into the chat and said, I say boom, 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 and everybody say wayo, wayo. I'm not singing that. Triple G jumped straight in with a wayo. So did Bethany. Cable's son jumped in. He says wayo as well. Highland G. Oh, he says hail pipe. He broke the chain. Highland G breaks the chain.
Okay, I like
The Funky Gibbon brings it back with a Heidi Wayu.
Heidi Wayu.
Blue Sonic's in. Comic Bound brings it back with a Wayu D high. This is ridiculous. With a Wayu D high. We have Peter Thornton is in. Hi everyone, thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining.
Dean's managed to join. Heyo. Hope we're all well. Thank you very much for joining, Dean. He means wayo. JWD Comics is in. He says hello all. Thank you for joining. So yes, thank you all for joining as we talk about Kingdom Come. And I'd like to hear from the man who's named himself Kingdom Boar what your first thoughts on this book were, Phil.
To be fair, full disclosure, this name is purely to trigger certain people. I don't think it was born in its entirety. There are parts of it are quite boring. I'm not going to lie. The first half, it's not that it was boring. It just took a long time in the first two chapters of this book. But the last two saved it for me. I'll also admit, Shane, that you have fallen foul of this as well, that I do think that maybe the kind of hype and the kind of, a lot of people hold this up in such high regard, and having never read it before, I was excited for it. This must be amazing. This must be up there with Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen and so on. And it's not quite there for me yet. But let me just say, The Dark Knight Returned is my favorite all-time comic book, and it even took a second and a third reread to really fully appreciate it. And I think it's going to be the same with this. Like, I actually want to read this again and again to get that full appreciation. And also, it doesn't help the fact that I kind of rushed through this last night as well.
Sorry.
I will take that. Before we jump on, sorry, a couple more people have joined us, and I do just want to say hello. Connie's joined. Thank you very much, Connie. And we have Brandon.
Branded One Arch.
Branded One Arch. Sorry, I'm used. If you put capitals in, I can read better. I'm not very good at reading names out all in one go. He says, "Sorry, never apologise for being late. Just thank you for coming. We appreciate it."
Yeah, well, you're still here before Dominic. He hasn't popped up yet.
We need to address Dean's comment as well. Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't like the book. I'm just saying I think I need to read it again.
Dean says, "I've now blocked Phil on social media."
But the thing is, like, so Dean, and even last week, Peter from Triple J was like 10 out of 10 all around. I was like, I'm expecting this book to be superb. And, you know, again, it's not even just them guys. Like, I obviously value their opinion on books. It's the comic community in general really rate this book. And I was expecting it to be 10 out of 10. And it just didn't reach that yet. But I told you, like I said in our chat this morning, I think I left this too late and kind of rushed through it to get to the end for tonight's show. Where the second time I want to read this, I want to sit down on a Saturday evening with no disturbances and just sit and read this book from cover to cover and actually take it in. Because with that art, by the way, you can't just read it like a normal comic book. You have to literally observe it a bit more. And I couldn't get to do that, to be honest.
Yeah. I will
That's
just
my
say,
excuse, Dean and Peter and Adam and everyone who hates you right now. Love you all.
I will say though, as much as I love reading a physical comic, I did go back obviously to pick my page with the digital version, and with the digital version you can zoom in and see a lot more. Like, it's kind of hard to you can only bring a comic so close to your face. So it is nice to go back with the digital and just zoom into every page and every panel and just have a look at Alex Ross's art, because it is flawless.
If you had the time, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scott, you finished this an hour ago, so what were your first thoughts?
I did. I've had a bit of a hectic day and a bit of a mad week, so I literally finished this at like 8:20 this evening. When I finished it, I was sat there, you know, eyes closed, calm, accumulating my thoughts, and all I could think of was this was a borderline piece of genius that's timeless and will stand the test of time. It has this kind of theme that will last forever. You know, it kind of touches on the devolution of morals when it comes to descendants of the Justice League crew, and it's just so many things that you can apply that to in real life. You know, I was trying to think of it like this. The Justice League being this organization that was brand new and had these ideals, you know, Superman's ideals, and everyone adopted that, and then the organization kind of gets bigger, or the people who originally started it get lost or they leave and that kind of thing, and then everyone starts to do what they think is right based on the times and based on their surroundings and stuff. But I absolutely loved the fact that, you know, they were really trying to enforce Superman's ideals, and this book could be read in decades to come and it would still make sense. And it's that which has just made me appreciate it so much. Like, you know, if just reading this as a novel, you know, like, the art is stunning, but you could read this as a novel and still have the same thoughts, the same feelings, the same kind of grasp on the ideologies they're trying to get through, you know. Yeah, this book was just amazing. That's it.
I was worried, out of the two of you, I thought maybe you, Scott, would not have liked this book as much. Being younger, obviously, and not being around, not being of a decent age back in '96 when it first came out, and obviously reading it back exactly. Yeah. So you weren't reading comics at 4. But I read this obviously back in '96. I mean, if you look at my copies, they are tatty. Like, the spines are all creased and torn, and
what the hell, man?
They have been read a lot. So I thought maybe like a younger generation reader would have a bit of an issue with this and not see the differences between the older and newer characters, because nowadays the young characters in this book are pretty much the comic book characters that we're reading now. They have that more darker edge. They're willing to go a little bit too far. So yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Phil, you can leave now. The chat has decided you're no longer welcome.
You're banished. Be gone, Phil.
I think it's unfair to kind of jump on me. Like, I haven't said I don't like it.
No,
I just said it's
I'm
not.
joking.
I'm not there yet. For example, I'll give you. I read Marvels, like Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross on the art in it, and I think that's a better book than this. But that's for another argument for another day. But this might get there with a second, third reread.
Yeah, the fact that you're willing to reread it is a big thing. I'm really glad.
I totally agree with Phil on the maybe he read it, he maybe rushed it or whatever, because I started it on Monday and I usually read like one a day or maybe like one in the afternoon, one in the evening. But I was like, I had the plan to read issues 2 and 3 yesterday, like straight after another. But I finished 2, and these issues are massive. They're like 50 odd pages long, and so it was really hard to want to start another issue. Like, there wasn't a problem reading this. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy it, but there was this kind of, once you're so used to reading 20 or 26 page issues, and then you get to one that's double pretty much, and I just couldn't bring myself to read another one. I kind of have this fatigue, but I was thinking this would have been absolutely amazing coming out monthly, picking these up monthly, and you would be so hyped because you're going to get a big book. It's a fantastic story. They're all individuals are really all individual issues are all really coherent, maybe, is that what I'm trying to say. That it's not like they just leave you hanging. They seem to be these quite self-contained stories in a way. I hope you know what I'm trying to say.
There's no real cliffhanger at the end of each issue.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah, and
like the next chapter literally is like it just smooths. So
yeah, it was just but I couldn't read one after another. They were just dense, and I just wanted to take it in. I wanted to take each one in and not have to rush through. So that's why I finished it at 8:20 tonight.
Yeah, I think I just read it wrong.
Yeah, that's a really nice way to read books. I think that is something that trades suffer from quite a lot. Just reading it all in one go, just you're not absorbing it as much. Like you say, reading it monthly, you then have a month to think about it and talk to your friends about it, and then go back and reread it the week before so that it's fresh in your memory for the next issue. So yeah, I think that does get lost quite a lot with trades nowadays, especially some of the ones we've read. We found them quite heavy for a single read. I just have a couple of comments here. JDW Comics says the art is just stunning, which it is. I mean,
yes.
If I would like to meet someone who doesn't appreciate Alex Ross's art, if there's anyone on this planet.
If someone was like, I don't like Alex Ross, but I really liked the art that was in Onslaught Unleashed. I'd be like, all right, get out. Just go.
Complete chop and cheese, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Adam's glad that Scott gets it because he knows Phil doesn't. Connie reads all her comics digitally, which is like I say, a great way to read them. As much as I do enjoy it, if I've got it, I'll read it physically, but then I'll get the digital copy to get the page for the nerd herd.
I think it's a good point too about the way you done it, because with this art, like the way even the panel layouts are, like each panel is quite detailed. So if you're looking at the whole thing, you could be like, where am I looking?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're able to zoom in and just sit for a second and just go, oh, that's really cool. And like you see things better that way, I suppose. Because cool. I know, but cool. But the pages weren't like typical kind of comic book where it's really dynamic, action-packed art where there's like fight scenes happening over 3 or 4 panels and whatever. Like it was all quite uniform or something. Even though it wasn't the same layout, it wasn't like a 9-panel page layout or anything like that. It just didn't seem as dynamic as other comics, but not in a bad way. It was for the better, I think.
Yeah, it's more showcasey to showcase the work of the artist.
Yeah.
Dean agrees about the hype to a certain extent, but since its release, it's pretty much been one of the holy trinity of DC recommended graphic novels, which speaks volumes for itself. I mean, it's a 26-year-old book. And it's, you know, people still want to read it. They're still bringing out editions of it. You know,
I mean, the one on our background right now, this one down here, that was the copy that was released in 2019. So, you know, they're still bringing out these fantastic
if you get a chance, definitely check this one out. The back of this has sketches by Alex Ross and his original concepts for all the new characters. It's really, really good. Like, there's like 100 and something extra pages in the back of this.
Yeah. Is that the Black Label edition?
Yeah.
Click on the link below. Buy yourself a copy right here.
Connie's just verifying that she wasn't alive in 1996.
Nice.
so she wouldn't be reading this either, Scott.
We know what side she would be on. She'd be the young hero side. We'll be all the old fogies.
The boomers.
Cable's Lost Son says he struggled with this a little, as I haven't read Justice League before. Maybe not a great starting point with no background knowledge.
See,
I could see that.
Like, I can, but I don't think you need to read, like, Justice League, you know, the Justice League books, you know, the run for Justice League. Like, as long as you know the ideals of Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, you're pretty much golden, you know. And as long as you know a little bit, like, Lex Luthor is Superman's big bad guy, you know. Shazam says Shazam to turn into this guy, you know. And it's just, as long as you know the little basics like that, I think you can get through this book fine.
Yeah, or if you've watched a Justice League Unlimited TV show, you know, the cartoon.
Yeah.
Just read that, and then you could watch that, and then you can read Kingdom Come. It's fine. Yeah. Highland G does. Triple G. Too many G's. There's G's everywhere. Honestly, it's a heavy story, so it's hard to read in one go. You need to process it, I think. Could spend ages just looking at the art and looking for the little things he snuck in. Yeah, he did. Like, I didn't notice half the things he snuck in, but at the back of this, it tells you all the things that he hid in every panel of this book. So good.
Go back through that then.
Yeah, it's well worth it.
I'm still processing, and I'm a little bit slow, so that's what it is. I'll get there, maybe by the end of the week. I'll change the score then.
Can you just do a little Instagram story for the Herd channel and just be like, I get it now. I get it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I apologize.
Since we all agree that the art is so good, shall we look at our pages?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start with me, because I think my page is the earliest chronologically in the book, because mine's from issue 1. Could have gone with a massive splash panel, could have gone with anything. But this one, because I did go back after I picked like 7 pages, I went back and I was like, no, it has to be this one. The look on his face as Spectre comes through the wall, and the glow on him, like he truly believes like he's seeing an angel, and the expression, it just looks so human.
Oh yeah.
It's just fantastic. I mean, Spectre looks great, but Spectre's always been a very monotone character. He's just white and green. But Alex Ross then adds this halo effect around him.
Yeah, the glow.
You know, to give him this ethereal presence. It was just, I just thought this was absolutely gorgeous. His eyes, like, that looks like a photograph. Mm-hmm. And to think a human drew that.
This was it Norman, his name, isn't it? He was... the inspiration for him was Alex Ross's dad.
Oh. Yes, is his dad's middle name.
Yeah, but yeah, the way he looks as well, apparently is really similar to Alex Ross's dad.
That's a lovely thing to add, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, every page and every face, like the amount of time you must have spent on every individual face was like, it's supposed to taken months and months to do this, maybe even longer. I don't know, but just like the amount of effort to put into it. But Alex Ross is the kind of person should get like a commission for like the Queen. Like every Queen or every Prime Minister, every President gets like a picture of themselves on the wall, whatever. Like Alex Ross should be doing them. Just employ Alex Ross.
Like, who would you like to paint you for your big painting? You'd be like, oh, who's that guy that did Superman really well?
Oh, that would be amazing. Just have the Queen with like a shoulder cape going off there. She's standing there with her corgis.
And someone mistakes him for Rob Liefeld, and you get a completely different picture.
Oh God, no feet. Where's her feet?
Feet like twice the size of her shoulders. It's just
Phil, should we check out your page?
Yeah, by all
Which one
means.
did you pick?
Again, this
Oh,
every page you could literally pick anything in this whole book, and it'll be a whopper. And I just try to find something. And I just thought maybe I had a bit more detail than normal, and I just thought this is quite cool. Like Wade Manor's obviously been, destroyed. Goes in the cave, and then there's Batman. Well, kind of Batman. It's his cave. Everything's falling apart, and just the way they drew it, and the reflections in the water and stuff as well, and the kind of shadows. I just thought it was all really cool. Like again, there's no page that is not cool in this book, and yeah, this just stood out for me amongst about 50 others. And it was hard to pick, but this is one I went with because it has Batman and a giant penny. But even the details of the cracks in the walls and stuff like that, it's just it's just lovely. It's lovely.
yeah. Does make you wonder though, like, well, not wonder, because it's like the future. Poor Alfred, he must have passed.
He'd be quite old, I suppose, but at this stage, if he,
I really like the Superman coming down the stairs, and he's just black with just a red cape.
It's
just floating down.
And that's what the whole book in general, like the lighting through the whole book was really good. Like the really good use of like the sun, like where it's reflecting or whatever. It was just really cool the way it was all kind of planned out and drawn. It's fantastic.
I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find a page, like a bad page. I think that's what we should have done for this. We should have had to find a bad page, like our least favorite page in the book.
Yeah. What's the worst page? Page 1.
Page 1.
I just meant the blank one, the one.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the vision of like. I thought you meant the red vision of the future. Scott, what did you pick?
This was mine. This was, at the very last issue where Shazammed. Well, Captain Marvel. He Shazammed the nuke that they were going to drop on the Gulag where the war was happening, and I just loved. Obviously the art is stunning, and I think this was a given that the art is amazing. But for me, what really stood out was the paneling in this. It was just so cool. You get all these little slivers of characters' reactions to them seeing what's happening right now and what Captain Marvel's doing, and I thought it was just brilliant. It was the only page I kind of I turned the page and I went, no, I'll look at that again. That was nice. I like that.
Finished.
Yeah, I'm not done with you yet. Yeah, I just loved it. It was really powerful, quite impactful, and there's a lot of emotion in Captain Marvel there, and I just thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, because I think the page before this is actually really good as well, when Superman goes to stop it, but then Captain Marvel flies up, grabs him and pulls him down.
Yeah.
So that he can sacrifice himself. It was just, so good.
Yeah.
Phil, thoughts?
Again, everything you said is, the faces are phenomenal. Like they look real. It's fantastic. And Scott was in that scene as well, like the page before that, and this one where he goes up to kind of nuclear bomb. It's just like you felt the kind of intensity in this page. It's just really cool. Love it.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see what the herd thought of the art, shall we?
Yes.
Highland G says the artwork is amazing. It's a little out of place in a comic book.
I think the art alone, for a comic.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It doesn't feel like a comic book. Yeah.
No, it should be in a museum or an art gallery somewhere. He says he thinks the art alone keeps this book selling year after year. The story for me was just okay, not bad, but not close to the art. I think that's fair. I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be a story that could match this kind of art. Yeah. I mean, maybe get him to illustrate the Bible, but I don't know what other book is big enough for this art.
Just to touch on that, I'm going to be biased. My Lord of the Rings bias, I suppose. But books like that do get illustrated editions, that's the kind of art you would almost expect. In those kind of books. So it is right to say it's not a comic book style art. It's not at all. That is far better than a comic book. But I mean, we're not complaining a lot. We all loved it.
Yeah. Adam says there are no bad choices when it comes to pages. His pick would be Superman surrounded by the skeletons in issue 4. That's the next page, isn't it? After Scott's pick.
No, two pages after, because it has the mushroom cloud and then the dust settling on just Superman, and then he turns it, and there's all the skeletons around there. Dino put it on his Instagram today if you want to see that as well, if you're interested.
just so dark. One of the things I love about Alex Ross is how he swings more towards traditional than commercial art with his choice of medium and colors. It's fantastic. JWD Comics, yeah,
That's a great point.
his class. Yeah, he's always going to be traditional. If you like I say again, I'm going to keep going back to this volume. Sorry, because of the back of the book. But if you read Alex Ross in the back, he says because he's so traditional and his art style is so clean and again traditional, buzzword of the day, he had to get a fellow artist in to help him design some of the newer characters. You know, some of the over the top,
Right.
over the eccentric, like the tattooed ones and the ones with all the guns. They were
right.
designed by another artist, so that was really cool. Connie says her page is the one with Superman and Wonder Woman sitting in space. Yes, just chatting,
Nice.
just holding the lasso
Yeah.
of truth, just talking to each other honestly. That
I
was
almost picked this myself because Superman was flicking rocks at, like, I think they mentioned at meteors or something and breaking them
Yeah.
and then getting the lasso. And the reason I almost wrote it down because that was like the first time in this entire book where I got a sense of fun. You know, everything was kind of dire and drab, like this big kind of war, and like Superman's obviously brewing. I don't know what I was trying to say.
brooding.
Yeah, whatever he was. Yeah, and it's just like
Brooding on his farm in his sexy dungarees.
he was a good looking chap. But that page and there was a page where Flash took out Norman out of the, and I thought it was really cool because I think it was a Power Woman she was called, but Power Girl, Power Woman, that one, and that was like another fun page, you know. And I think this book in general lacked a bit of fun, you know. Even a little bit of fun.
Going back to the fact that loads of people have chosen pages today, guys, you are more than welcome to send us your pages and we will feature them on the show. Just send us them on Instagram, either as a group or individually, like whatever. Just ping us your message, tell us what page you got, and we'll feature it on the show. Sorry, as you were.
No, yep, that's right. The more the merrier. Because we did actually pick. I picked a couple more just to showcase the art a little bit more than just our free panels, our free pages rather. So I picked this one to show the League like reforming for the first time in 10 years. I thought, what a great Justice League shot. They're just descending from heaven like angels, because it's all from his vision, isn't it? Norman's vision. How he words everything, the 7 angels descend from heaven, and he's all talking about the Justice League, and I just thought this was fantastic. And Flash's design in this is so cool.
I was gutted that they didn't just have him stop for just one panel. Like, he's just always like this blur. I know.
Because he's evolved to this newer version of himself. When I saw that, I was like, oh, I wonder what Scott's going to think of the Flash in this, who's like running around Central City, non-stop, just stopping the minutest of things.
I was wondering, wrong. Did they mention who it was? Was it Jay or
Wally.
Barry? It's Wally, but he looks like Jay.
It's the best one, Wally West.
He's got Jay's helmet on, but Alex Ross has confirmed that it's Wally.
Right, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, because they didn't say, did they, at all?
No, they didn't. They just called him the Flash.
Yeah.
They did that with quite a few characters. They didn't tell you who they were under the mask.
Yeah.
I picked this one to showcase as well because I really enjoyed Batman's smirk in the bottom corner.
I know, yeah. It's like grimace.
And it just showcases him and his team as they join the battle at the end. Yeah. But again, what a great team shot. Alex Ross can just fill a page. Or he can have a single character on a page and it's just as gorgeous and as stunning as a complete team shot.
Package.
Package. Yes. There were quite a few extra parts drawn on the characters, shall we say.
Nice. Like, I have one tiny complaint about the art, and I'm sorry about this. Just tiny. The fact that some of the panels, for me, were just a bit too busy. I really struggled to kind of decipher who was who, what was going on, which way things were going, you know what I mean? And especially with the war towards the end, you know, I understand this massive fight is going on, but I was really struggling to, you know, notice the detail, who was who, what was what, and things like that. But, you know, that is, I don't know if that is just me. I'm not going to say that's an issue with Alex himself.
I think that's Alex just, you know, showing off I think he's like,
Yeah.
oh look, there's a piece of paper, there's a piece of white showing through my page. I must put a character there. You know, he can't leave anything
Yeah.
blank. He has to fill a page.
I also share that same gripe, like with the battle scenes as well. Like, it's hard to kind of make it who is who, but I think because there's so many people we don't know who they are, they're just made up characters that you're not really meant to know. But I just try to like differentiate between the two. Do I know this one? Nope. Do I know this one? Nope. And again, it's a time thing, suppose, having time to look at it. We didn't have it. So if they were a bit less busy, you'd maybe get through those pages a bit quicker.
Yeah.
But again, that's
for me,
like, it's you're being picky at this point. You know what I mean? That's just so good in general.
Yeah.
I think for me, those are the pages that kept me on them longer because I was, like you say, trying to differentiate, trying to look at characters to see who they were. So I did linger more. If that maybe that was his goal, to get you to look at the page rather than just turn to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but again, I'm going back to this. If you go back to this, at the back of this book, he will explain who's in every single panel of every single page. He sorts it all out for you.
Just more reading.
So
More reading.
Sorry,
before
go on.
before we go on to the writing, sorry, Scott, can I just, we do have a couple new people joining, and I just want to say hello.
Hello.
Paulo Costa, thank you for joining. He says, at first, the main attraction for me was the cameos, but most of these characters have little, if any, roles, which is quite true. It is very much just the Trinity's book, isn't it? But as far as it being a Superman post-apocalyptic Elseworld story, it's still readable, which is very fair. And we have Shattered Glass Comics reviews. He says, hey, everyone, new Saga Day. Yes. Issue, what is it, 55?
55, yeah.
55 of Saga came out today, so go buy it.
$2.99 price point as well.
Is it
Expected Phil to go a link below?
Yeah.
No.
No.
So, sorry, Scott. I'm sorry, I cut you
Well,
off.
I just wanted to push us along for the story now. I know we're coming close to time, so I want to actually talk about the story.
So before we do, I just want to say this was an Elseworld story that was completely out of continuity in the DC universe. But then, thanks to the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths, thanks to Infinite Crisis.
Infinite Crisis.
Right.
Infinite Crisis. It was brought back as its own world, so now it's Earth 22 in the DC continuity.
Okay.
So they can cross over again and they can appear whenever they want.
What a way to sell more books. They just re-released it in Black Label DC book. Here it all counts. It has its own world now.
There you go.
Marketing on its finest, eh?
Yeah.
So go on, Scott. What do you think of the writing?
Wow. Okay, no pressure.
We'll do the compliment sandwich. We'll start with you, then Phil, then me, so that we end on a high.
Okay. I mean, it's just much of the same as what I said earlier on. It absolutely blew me away. But I did feel like, I think all of the big DC books that we've read, like big events and stuff, I feel like they're all just Superman stories with other people involved. You know what I mean? Like, I know Wonder Woman and Batman were big things, but this story was all about Superman's ideals, that justice has to be served and don't kill anyone. That's literally it. And that's all this story was about, wasn't it? It was just Superman wanted everything to be this way, and then the younger people didn't mind killing people, and that was it. And it was just like, right, stop that now. Get in the gulag, chill out. It was basically the naughty step for superheroes. But it was a story that I just loved reading. I'm happy I didn't rush it, and I took my time, like one a day kind of thing. And I just loved the intelligence behind the writing. That's what it was for me. Like, I love a smart book, I love a smart novel, I like a smart comic, and for me this was just pushing all the right buttons for me. I'm just having a great time reading it. It was just, I love to think, maybe in a little bit of a philosophical way, but yeah, this book was just pleasing all the time. Just loved it.
How lovely is that? Pleasing all the time.
Yeah, I thought as well. I've written it down in my notes. I've called it the Scrooge mechanism, where Spectre has taken Norman round like they do in the Scrooge stories, and I thought it was a really good way to kind of jump along the timeline of the story without having us, without just filling us in with little, what's the word? Just
having normal narration boxes.
Yeah, well, no, we didn't have any boring bits, no filler. We just kept jumping to the good bits, along the story, the Scrooge mechanism.
Patented by the Nerd Comic Book Club.
Patented, yeah, yeah. I think that's my piece of bread for the compliment sandwich.
Before we get to Phil's filling,
Oh God.
Peter Thornton says this was his first time reading with all of us, and his first DC story, and he loved it. Thanks, Scott, for the direction on the digital. Art was insane, and the story is timeless. I will be reading it again. Oh, that fills
I'm just really
my heart
pleased.
with so much joy.
I'm just really pleased that last week wasn't his first read with us.
And Comic Bound says, if I remember, there was a point in the Jeff Johns JSA run where Kingdom Come Superman shows up. He thinks it's called the Kingdom Come. Yes, he does show up in JSA. He also shows up in Batman Superman in the book we read. If anyone remembers when Superman showed up in the Batcave and threatened to skull Batman with the Batmobile. No. And then he disappeared as they shot him. Do you remember?
No.
Oh, was it that?
That was Kingdom Come Superman, yes. But yes, go on, Phil. Fill us in.
You would love my filling, Shane. So, anyway, basically, I have a few gripes with the book. And again, it's my own fault. I'll openly admit it's my fault for maybe not giving this book the time of day, as in like having more time to read it and enjoy it. I definitely think there's like a fine wine, this will maybe appreciate better. Like the longer you processed it and read it and reread it and stuff like that. So obviously, yes, this does center around Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman in the end. But the first two chapters, and I understand world building, I understand that, but they just seemed very long to the point where I was like, okay, when's a good stopping point? Because like it's just went on for too long. I need to get to the point to be a bit quicker, just so I can put the book down and go to bed. You know, I know that's a silly thing to say, but it's just it did go on a bit too long. Now, issue 3 kind of picked up a lot. And issue 4 kind of was fantastic. I love the kind of inclusion of like Aquaman. Like they went to Atlantis to say, listen, can we house the metahuman or the superheroes who aren't willing to fall in line? Can we bring them to your oceans and you hold them for us? It's like, no, I'm not doing that. So then they go to Apocalypse, and it's Orion. Sorry, and again he kind of offers it, but in a bit of a cruel kind of way. So Superman's like, no, we'll just do our own thing, and he built the Gulag. That's all really cool, but that could have happened in issue 2. Do you know what I mean? It could have maybe. I just think it was way too far. The first 2 issues.
No, they needed. Sorry, these are your thoughts. I didn't mean to.
I just think if when I read it again, which I'm going to read again because I did enjoy it, I think I'll appreciate it more. But with that, and enjoy those the first 2 issues. The things are like, I mean, I don't know who Captain Comet is, but Superman certainly does because he was broke up about it. Like, not Captain Comet. It's like it's
not Lenny.
Like, I mean, even like I know who the Blue Beetle is, but I can't tell you anything about him. He was quite prominent at sometimes, and it wasn't until the end where I really realized the guy is Spectre. You know, it's just because he was in Marvel versus DC book we read, wasn't he? The Spectre. Yes. Yeah. I can't remember him, and then in this book's like, hey, it's this guy with the green cloak, whatever else. I went along with it. It's fine. It doesn't really matter who he is. And then it was the Spectre. So that's kind of one of my issues with some of the DC books. They do use these characters quite a lot, and it's hard to kind of know who they are. Even they actually underused Martian Manhunter. I'll say that too because he was underutilized. And I actually thought initially it was oh man, who's the guy we like? The English guy. Constantine. I thought he was Constantine when they first appeared.
Yeah. Yes.
And then
it wasn't until Spectre pulled the cloak back and showed you what he looked like. Yes.
So I was like, yes, Constantine's in that guy. I've loved everything Constantine's appeared in we cameo roles and stuff. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, the last 2 issues were really, really good and definitely far superior in the first 2. And I understand world building, you had to get that point, but I just think if it wasn't for those 2 taking off where they did, I would have found this a bit boring. But it wasn't a bit boring. I would have found this a bit boring. Please don't hate me, right?
Let's just say hello to Panels and a Half Pint.
Hey,
Thanks,
Sean.
Sean, for joining. He says hello, everyone. And we have Jack Talks Comics. Hey,
Jack.
everyone. Thank you for joining as well. I think the first two issues, they are slower. There's lots of action in there, but I think because you don't know the characters as well, it does feel a little bit draggy. But I think you need that because you need to see what these characters are doing and why Superman ultimately comes back, why he needs to come back. I think the sheer lack of any sense of protection or care for human life is so prominent with these new heroes. Like, they're fighting in the streets and buildings are coming down and they're not even trying to protect anyone. You know, like you see when the Justice League come back and they go on their first fight together, it even says like, these ones are fighting, Wonder Woman's protecting people, because that's how the League work. You know, one of them goes and saves someone, one of them stops the bad guy. It's what you do. And the fact that none of these new heroes had any sort of care for anything other than the bad guy that they're fighting, they just seem to enjoy fighting. And Phil, your Martian Manhunter gripe about why he was underused. I'm not a massive Martian Manhunter fan, so I don't really care if he's not in a book. Again, I'm going to point you to this. Alex Ross tells you why he's underused. The reason he doesn't use Martian Manhunter is because he's a Superman level powerhouse.
Okay.
And he wanted it to be Captain Marvel and Superman. And if you throw Martian Manhunter in there, Martian Manhunter then has to pick a side, and it's a whole extra subplot here.
Is that why they brought in the fact that he was a bit mentally unstable now?
Yeah, he opened his mind to the entire planet, and sort of sidelined him.
Right.
That makes total sense. But there's now a trend developing when it comes to a lot of DC books. There seems to be other material to kind of read. I'm not obviously not comic books, but obviously the back matter of this book to kind of get that explanation. Not that I need an explanation. Like, who am I to want an explanation? But it's just when you see Martian Manhunter appear for like 2 pages or like 2 panels, you kind of want more of him a wee bit. I like Martian Manhunter. But I did like the Shazam idea that, you know, he's human and a metahuman, and he's, you know, under what's the word they use? He's being manipulated or brainwashed by Lex Luthor. That was so cool.
Yeah.
But again, even Shazam's a character I don't know a lot about other than the movie, which I don't think this is anything like the movie, obviously. I'd written down as well, like, I get you're not meant to know who these heroes are, but I think I would have liked to have some, like, 1 or 2 heroes, and like, well, I'm a descendant of such and such, I'm a descendant of, you know, just something so you can kind of go, that's really cool. Like, the some character designs, you can kind of tell who they're coming from. But there's a girl who was quite prominent in the art, purple hair, wore like a bandana of a purple diamond. I couldn't think, like, I wish I had to explain who her parents or whatever were, you know, to say where she's come from.
That's Starfire and Dick Grayson's daughter.
And they referenced Dick Grayson in the book as well towards the end.
Yeah, he's Red Robin. He's in the book. He's the guy with the hood.
Can I just add as well with the story? See, and again, I know people are going to hate me for saying this, but I'm sorry. See, the most fun I had, and it's not a fun book, but the diner scene at the end, where Superman and Wonder Woman and Bruce Wayne are having a little meal in the is it Planet Krypton? Is that the restaurant was called? And I mean, that was just such a cool. I felt like a more like a low-level, real conversation between these 3 characters, and they're obviously talking about having babies and so on and so forth. But I have a question for Shane. This Wonder Woman, did you like her? Because I detested her in this book.
This Wonder Woman, I don't know what happened in the 20 years previously that made her this harsh. You know, so the world obviously turned. But this is not the Wonder Woman that I know and love. She was a bit too trigger happy, but she's 20 years older and the world is a piece of crap now, so maybe she's just been ground down. But no, this is very much in the vein of the Injustice Wonder Woman. Like, she'll follow Superman, she'll do what needs to be done, she'll just kill whoever's in front of her. I was a bit, knowing Wonder Woman, being the Wonder Woman fan I am, this is not but this isn't my Wonder Woman, so I can't even say, this is the Kingdom Comes Wonder Woman. This is the alternate Earth 20 years in the future, so it's not my Wonder Woman, so I can look past that and still enjoy the book.
I just didn't like her. I thought she was a
No.
wee.
Yeah, she was a bit much. I did like the writing when she kisses Superman, and it's like she kisses him with the sound of marble brushing
Scraping.
against steel. Yeah. I thought, what a great description for their kiss. I thought that was fantastic.
In that image, I could be wrong. Did Superman look like taken back, like like a typical movie, or like his eyes are go back in his head type thing? Was he like that?
Yeah, he's like, well, yeah, because like they were arguing, and she just leans in and kisses him. So
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah, but that diner scene at the end, I posted a joke from that diner scene on my Instagram. When Batman asks what the special is, and the waitress says it's the Power Girl chicken sandwich, and he asks what's the cut, and she says breast.
Yeah.
It was for a book that did not make me laugh, like, because you're not meant to laugh because it's a very serious story. To then have that would then make you laugh out loud. I thought, what a great little.
But it was, that whole scene was so human, and it was so nice to see these three characters just be normal people, at a terrible restaurant, just having some decent food and just having a catch up and a chat and share some news, and that was it. And it was such a nice, for me it felt like really heartwarming, like the ending of a film where everything is nice and is really tied together really well. And then they all, they kind of did walk into the sunset, didn't they? When they were leaving the restaurant, they kind of shadows and silhouettes just faded away in it. And yeah, I just thought it was such a really nice way to just end it all.
I just love like Batman was a bit of an ass,
Yeah,
like in a way, but still they love him for it. He could be our godfather. Like it's just,
he's
like,
their ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Connie did detest Wonder Woman as well. She said she was intolerable. That's harsh. Intolerable. Couldn't even tolerate her. Highland G says, he says, I don't like Wonder Woman in these types of books. She's a warmonger and constantly has Soup's ear like she's the one in charge. Yeah, that's the same thing they did with her in Injustice. I think because she has the warrior background, they tend to make her that kind of character, which is a shame. But just really quick, what did you guys think of Magog?
He was alright.
What's wrong with he?
He was gold guy with the big
horns.
Is he the one who gave in at the
Superman
end?
left.
He was the one who gave in at the end. He kind of collapsed, and I like that part of it where he kind of fell to the ground, and there was again a human moment almost, like that he regrets what happened, and he knows that. He's see, I was getting Magog mixed up with there was like I looked like up the last page, a Bulgarian character. I thought he was German because he was speaking like a different language. I thought that was Magog through a lot of time because they look quite similar. They're just big muscular guys.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't
one
like
that
him.
Wonder Woman kills.
Yeah, Von
Back. Von.
Yeah, that's the one.
Von
I was getting them mixed up for some reason, but yeah, Magog, he was alright. Does he appear anything else in DC?
Yeah, he comes back quite a few times. But I really liked how he, he was a hothead. He kills the Joker. People like him better because he's killing people now, apparently. So the Daily Planet's like 70% approval rating. And then Superman leaves. But then he blames Superman for everything. He's like, you left. You shouldn't have left. You should have stayed. You could have stopped all this. And he breaks down because he's killed millions of people. And you don't expect it, not from those kinds of characters who just had no sense of worth to any human life when they were fighting in the cities. And it took millions of deaths for him to sort of become a little bit more human. He does come back in a follow-up series called The Kingdom, which is a 2-part miniseries, and there are some one-shots that come out from this. And we meet Superman and Wonder Woman's child in that.
Does that make Ross do that book?
No, he does not. So stay clear. It's god awful.
Okay.
So you're admitting that the only reason why this isn't god awful is because Alex Ross done this book?
No, because Mark Waid doesn't write the. I don't think Mark Waid writes the Kingdom either.
Yeah, back off, Phil.
Yeah. But yes. So should we do scores and final thoughts then?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Everyone's ready. So if you've read along at home, please drop your score in the chat, and we will add it to ours like we do every week, and we will bring up the average because Phil's going to bring it down. So help me out here, people.
You do not know what I'm going to score this.
It's
Right?
not going to be high.
It's not going to be 10, no, but it's not going to be low.
Yeah,
You know.
right. Before we do our scores, we
Yes.
had a score from Off My Shelves, and he sent me a message as to what his thoughts were. So can I read that out now, or do you want me to do it later?
You can read that out now.
Okay. So
It's in the chat. Can Dean drop his score in there? If not, you did send it to me, so I'll read that out for you.
Great. So Chris said, this was an absolutely amazing book in both the art and writing, but the large-scale action scenes, while beautifully depicted, are a bit static and can be a little confusing. My only other gripe is it does rely on DC character knowledge. Characters like the Spectre are not explained at all, but from a central part of the plot, and it's certainly one that improves greatly with DC knowledge. So from him, it's a 7.5. But yes,
Nice.
so back to normal programming.
Yeah.
Well, so I go? Shall I go?
Yep, go on, Phil.
So it seems like Chris and I are just alike in many ways, because I too have a problem with, like I mentioned, the Spectre and some characters who you don't really know a lot about. And I get that maybe you don't need to know at this point, but just for my own kind of want, I kind of feel like I want to know more of it. The art, there's no bad word to be said about the art. Like we mentioned earlier on, some panels can be a bit too busy, but you're really nitpicky at this point, just trying to find something bad with the art, but really there's not. It was beautiful, and I also wrote down classic and traditional, and I like the idea it was like 1950s style America, even though it wasn't the 50s, but it looked like it was the 50s. I just thought it was really cool. I agree as well that this is a timeless piece of art in terms of the whole book, and I mean this is 1996. Like you mentioned, 20 was it 20? I'm not good at math. 26 years ago. Yeah. We're still reading today, and people still read it so highly and still talk about it, and they're still releasing these books. Like that doesn't happen if the book's poor. It doesn't get re-released unless it's Watchmen and they have to for legal reasons. But that's another argument. Again, Shazam. Not a huge
Captain
fan of. Don't know
Marvel.
what about it, but even that there, like it's Shazam. I know I'm Shazam.
Captain Marvel. It's not Shazam. It's Captain Marvel.
I did think Norman McKay was really cool for just being like a wee old pastor, just kind of being dragged through this whole kind of thing, for no real reason apart from the fact he was talking to somebody else who had visions. They then died and passed the visions on to them.
No reason. He had to stand in judgment at the end. It was.
I know, I get that, but I just meant like it could have been the guy before him. Do you know what I mean? It could have been, I forget his name, the guy at the very start.
Sandman.
Is that who that was?
Sandman, yeah.
See,
Justice Society Sandman.
There's no element to that I just didn't know. So there's a lot of things I didn't know. Saying that, I will reread this book because I do think a second, third reread of this book will help you appreciate it more than what it should become. So I'm setting the bar low for my first read. Just put my virtual kind of protection up here so nobody gets at me. I'm giving this a 7.5, guys.
Okay.
Which is a good score. It's just I think it can be better, but it's not Dark Knight Returns level for me. I'll say that.
Okay. All right. I am writing down everyone else's scores as well. Cool. Right. My go.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just going to repeat myself. This was an absolutely fantastic piece of genius, timeless story writing and drawing, and I wouldn't even say drawing, painting. It was masterfully done, and something that touches on morals and makes me think, in this kind of way, and how humanity works, and a kind of philosophical type of thing. It was just an absolute joy to read. I just love to think, and this was definitely a book that had me thinking. We were following Superman's ideals, and it was just the ramifications of him trying to kind of rekindle his ideals and bring them back to the world, and I just absolutely loved it. Alex Ross this is my first time reading anything with Alex Ross art, and it was fantastic to look at. And sorry, I've just seen Dominic, and an absolute joy. Yeah, this is probably the best DC book I've ever read. It was, blew me away. You know what? Why not a 10?
Wow.
Wow.
Having it.
Scott.
I'm in a 9 all day, between 9.5 and 10. And why not? I mean, I've sung its praises so much. I don't care if there's a few little niggles here and there. Nothing's perfect. But this is the best it's going to be for me. So, yeah, it's going to be a 10.
Wow. Okay. The scores are still coming in, so I'll do mine while you grab those. Scott, is that okay?
Yeah, yep.
So for me, I mean, I love this book. I've had the copies since 1996. They're, nearly as old as Scott. I've read it so many times. And, like even when I'm just flicking through my books, I'll find them. I'll go through a box and they'll be in there and I'll like pull one out and I'll have a flick through because the art is just so nice. You just want to remind yourself of it. And then the story, I love this story. The world has it's lost hope because Superman left. Superman left. He was like, if that's the way you want to do things, you do things that way. But I can't abide by it, so you're on your own. And I thought it was just such a wonderful representation of what the world could be with the wrong kind of influences from a superhero of those high stature. Like they think they're the Justice League, these young ones. But they just go too far. They don't have the right morals to do the job. And I absolutely loved it. I loved seeing them all come back together. Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman. I know I didn't see them part, but I felt like I did from the start of the book. And you follow Norman and he's just this guy who just wants to, he just wants the world back the way it was. I absolutely loved it. I will read it again and again. And this volume here with all the extras in the back, it jumps it. The points double just for this. So it's like a 20 out of 10 book because of this. Read all of the Alex Ross extras in this and it's fantastic. But for me, it's a 10 as well. There is no better DC book than this. Right. This and The Killing Joke are my 2 all-time favorite books that I will reread over and over and over and over and over again.
Fantastic. Great.
Do you have
Phil,
scores?
you're wrong. I'm joking.
No
there are plenty
wrong.
of people in the chat that have given it 7s, 6.5, 7.5s is great.
But can I just say, I'm open and willing to give it more.
Of course.
At this point, I can't score more.
I love the fact that you're willing to read this again. That means more than scoring it 10. Because if you said, "Oh, it's a 10, but I'll never read it again," well, I don't want that. I want you to go back again and again and read this.
It's not even that I'm willing to read it. I want to read it, as in like I'm going to. Like my plan is for the end of the year show, if we do another one, I will have this read and I will probably change my score. I know I will. I just at the minute it's 7.5. Love everyone who still hates me, but I can't. No one should hate my heart.
Right. So we've got a lot of scores. Right.
Wow.
I need to clarify one. Does this count as a score?
Phil's score. Pain. What? Is he scoring Phil's score or is he scoring the book?
I need to make sure this is a score or not. Everything else is I'm fine.
He didn't score anywhere else. It's tricky. Sean, are you there?
Yeah. So that's right. We'll wait for him to reply. Hopefully. All right. So Chris, give it a 7.5. We had Dean. It's an easy 9.5 for me, as close to perfect as you can get from a DC graphic novel. As a kid, I'd never seen anything like this, and not many things have come close since, especially the visuals. Great. Highland G, give it a 7. I would give it a 7 based on the art mostly. Okay. Cable's Lost Son feels like an epic story with epic art, but I wanted more emotion with the characters. My bad knowledge, a 7 for me. So we got that as well. Triple G, loved this book. Read it when it first came out and still regularly read it. 9.5, easy. Paulo Costa, the way I like comics has changed since I first read this. What used to be an 8 is now a 6.5. So I've taken that as a 6.5. Connie, I'm going to give this a 7.5. Easy, thank you very much. Adam, timeless. Loved it when I first read it over a decade ago. Holds up well and might even aged for the better. Not just the art, but the story and the way it presents its ideas is a 9 from me. Liam, I loved this from start to finish. I can't put into words how much I enjoyed the art, and I thoroughly enjoyed the story. Easy to see why it's so highly rated. 9 out of 10. Blue Sonic, this is a great story and the art is truly stunning. It is a DC classic that I will read again. It's a 9 from me. Peter Thornton, I give it 9 out of 10. It's a classic theme. Dominic coming in. Crap. Thank you for joining, Dom. Nice to see you. But he also gives it a 9 out of 10. And then I think that is it.
And Sean has let us know that it's not a score. He hasn't read it yet.
Perfect. Okay. Right. So this is the most scores we've had in a very long time. So we really appreciate all this, guys. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Scott really appreciates all the work he has to do to get the average.
It's fine. Right. So, based on the audience score, let me just double check that again. 13. Yes, right. So, with all those scores, you come in as an audience an average of 7.7 as an audience. And then, so with Phil's 7.5, Shane's 10 and my 10, adding on to the audience of 7.7, we get a total of 8.8.
Don't hate me. Oh no.
So we said in the chat he was going to do this on purpose, didn't we, Scott?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did say. So let's take a look where this sits on the leaderboard and if it's in the top 10. It is, and it's joint second with Old Man Logan.
Ooh.
There we go. So just again under deceased, just under Old Man Logan, and just for the rest of you, there's the rest of the leaderboard as well.
I don't remember Old Man Logan getting 2 10s, but okay.
It's got all 8.8s all across the board. To be fair, when you look at it against the scoreboard, it should be above even deceased. In all fairness.
Yes.
Yes.
Come on, everyone, let's get in the comments. Change your score.
I'm not changing my score. I still want to have it open to have like an improved score towards the end of the year. But we will revisit the top 10 at the end of the year.
And yes, Connie, Phil and I, Scott and I did say in the chat, we were talking earlier and we said Phil was going to sabotage just so he could keep the top spot.
No, and can I just say that's not fair? Because I was thinking that, and I was going to give this a 9 on the fact that I was fearful of people thinking that. I was thinking 7.5 was my score, and I was going to say 9 because if I say 7.5 or whatever, they're going to think I'm just doing this on purpose. So
see, look, oh man, I liked Old Man Logan, but this book is in another league. Says Comic Bound. Yes, Adam, unfortunately. Please send all your feedback to @Phil's Nerdiverse on Instagram as to why this is not higher on the leaderboard.
I would like any contact from Adam. It'd be nice.
It would be nice.
Hi, Amy. Thanks for joining. Amy says, hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late. I hope you enjoyed the book tonight. I love the art, but can't give a score as I haven't read it. Yeah. Embarrassed monkey face.
If I'm not here next week, you know what's happened. I've been out.
Yeah, but
yes,
that's it.
Yes, that's it. So before we say goodbye, everyone got anything coming up? Phil, do we have anything coming up on our channel?
Yes, I just don't know what yet.
What do we? Okay.
I've got 3 videos. I just don't know what night. I'll put something out after Saturday, I'm sure. But there is, I'm busy up till Saturday. Wonder what that could be.
Oh, I don't know. Everyone knows that tune by now. If you're a fan, it is Comic Airwaves. We're finally back in 2022. There's a logo. If you've not seen it before, search for that. Look for that logo, and you will find the best goddamn video-styled radio show based on comic books you have ever seen. It's Comic Airwaves. We've got loads of fun features coming up. We got Ask Auntie Phil, that's coming back. We got some fun games and a brand new feature called Ready Steady Book. It's going to be really fun. So that will be on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. In the UK.
And before
Awesome.
tonight's show, I was scheduled to appear in that, but who knows anymore?
The only other thing I want to say as well is that Amy and I will be doing the auction this Sunday, and tomorrow night keep an eye out on Instagram, because we'll be doing an Instagram live to spin the wheel to see what charity we will be supporting as well.
Yes. So that's at Scott Shelf on Instagram. Head over there, follow him. Make sure you catch his stream so you can add to your wheel. Can we not, Scott?
Yeah,
Your wheel
yeah.
of
Just
charities?
if you just let us know a charity you'd like us to support, eventually in the future we'll add it to the wheel and it'll get randomly picked.
Fantastic. As for me, the quiz aired on Monday, the 16th quiz. It was my birthday quiz. So Pete from Triple G was nice enough to host for me. So I got to play. I actually got to play on the quiz, and it was so much fun. So if you haven't watched it, head over to Dawn of Comics and you can check out Dawn of Comics Quiz Night 16. So yes, that's it. Shall we tell everyone what we're reading next week?
Yes.
I think you tell us, because it's your pick, Scott. What is it?
Okie doke. Well, let's play the VT.
And then you'll tell us a little bit about it. Here we go.
I'll tell everyone about it. That's it. And for everyone who was listening on the podcast to that fantastic tune, we are going to be reading and talking about Mind Management Volume 1 from 2012, written by Matt Kint. Is it Matt Kint? I'm sure it is. Yeah, we'll be talking about that next week.
Looks lovely.
That's my pick. Some people do say the art is questionable, but other people say the writing bring it right back up. So who knows what's going to happen next week. But yeah, do give it a read. And come along and tell us what you think.
Yes. So, one more thing. Who's the publisher for that, Scott? Next week?
Dark Horse.
Do you know the Dark Horse.
Dark Horse.
Fantastic. So, if anyone needs to find it, it's by Dark Horse. Mind Management. Management is spelled
MGMT.
MGMT. Yes, because if you search management, it might not pop up.
But
But
I'll
yes.
be scheduled on the channel for next week. Should be going live tonight.
Yes. So you can click that bell for a reminder. Talk about a completely different style of art. Yes, Scott. Well, I mean, if you can't beat Alex Ross, you go with something like that, don't you, Scott?
Yeah. I mean, I know how to pick them, but, we'll see what happens. It should be fun.
Yes. So, yes, thank you all for joining. Really appreciate it. Talking about Kingdom Come. Until next time, take care and stay safe, everyone. Get your waves out. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.